You ever notice how the loudest moment in your life is the one where you finally stop talking? Not the argument, not the goodbye, not the last message you almost sent at 2 a.m. It's the moment you decide, I'm done chasing. See, most people think power looks like action, blocking, explaining, proving your worth. But real power is quieter than that. Real power is when your hands stop reaching, your mind stops rehearsing, and your energy pulls back without announcement. That's when everything shifts. There's a strange thing that happens when you stop chasing someone. At first, nothing. No fireworks, no apology, no dramatic realization. And that's where most people fail. They panic in the silence and break it. But if you stay still, time starts doing work you could never do with words. Because you weren't just present in their life. You were predictable. You were available. You were the emotional constant they never thought they'd lose. And when you pull back without warning, that version of you dies. Not violently, quietly. And quiet deaths are the ones that echo the longest. Psychology calls this withdrawal of reinforcement. When a behavior no longer gets rewarded, the brain starts searching for what changed. That's why they feel it before they admit it. When their phone doesn't light up, when their stories don't get your attention, when the familiar energy is gone, they won't say anything. Ego never does. But internally, the illusion cracks. And here's the part nobody tells you. Silence isn't about punishing them. Detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's the moment you stop trying to be understood by someone who was never really listening. You don't delete them to move on. You don't need closure conversations. You just stop responding to the old version of yourself that needed their validation. That's when your stillness becomes their storm. Because anger would have reassured them they still mattered. Silence gives them nothing to grab onto. And the mind hates empty space. So it fills it with questions. Did I go too far? Did I lose them for good? Why aren't they reacting? Time starts working against them now. At first, they feel free. Then they get curious. Then the absence gets heavy. Every day you don't reach out is a message they can't unread. You didn't slam the door. You just stopped holding it open. And somewhere along the way, something changes in you too. You're no longer just gone. You're unreachable. Your energy isn't there anymore. You're building, healing, growing in silence. And that's when the narrative flips without you saying a word. The person they thought would always be there isn't. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Silence is that strength. Detachment is that discipline. Because the truth is, you were never asking for too much. You were just giving it to the wrong place. And when you finally stop chasing, you don't lose them. You find yourself. And that's when silence stops being empty. It becomes your statement. Here's the truth most people don't realize until it's too late. When you go quiet, you don't disappear from their life. You disappear from their control. That's the part that unsettles them. Not the absence itself, but what it represents. Because when someone can no longer pull an emotion out of you, they're forced to sit alone with their own. And most people aren't ready for that mirror. At first, they don't notice. Life feels normal. Their ego tells them you'll be back like always. But silence has a delayed effect. It creeps in slowly. It shows up in quiet moments. Late nights, random memories. They start replaying how easily you used to show up, how available your energy was, how forgiving you were, and now, nothing, no reaction, no access. That's when the wondering begins. They check your page again. They look for signs. They listen for echoes. Not because they miss you yet, but because the pattern is broken. And the human mind hates broken patterns. Eventually, it lands. Not as regret right away, but as weight. The realization that something real slipped through their hands without a fight. And here's the irony, they feel it strongest when you're no longer trying to make them feel anything at all. But this story isn't really about them. It never was. It's about you choosing self-respect over explanation, discipline over impulse, peace over performance. Because detachment isn't running away. It's standing still long enough to realize you don't need to chase what's meant to stay. This is where growth happens, quietly, no announcements, no validation. You start moving differently, thinking differently, building a life that doesn't revolve around being chosen. And one day, they see it, the glow, the calm, the evolution. And it hits harder than any argument ever could. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Translation? Let them misunderstand your silence. Let them misjudge your distance. You don't owe clarity to people who benefited from your confusion. Because in the end, the strongest people don't win by proving anything. They win by walking away without burning bridges and without looking back. So don't block them. Don't beg. Don't explain. Just keep choosing yourself until your absence says everything you never needed to. And remember this: the moment you stop chasing is the moment your life finally catches up to you.